Welcome to our latest podcast coming to you from Motorfinity HQ. My name is Rini and I recently met with ex-military combat photographer Paul Saxby to talk about his life in the armed forces and his mission to keep veterans' stories alive. Motorfinity are proud to support the UK's armed forces, serving and ex-serving, and are collaborating with Paul on an exciting project to showcase his work and pay tribute to our veteran community. This is Paul's story. Welcome to Motorfinity HQ, Paul Saxby.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you here. And we talked about how to introduce you, Paul Saxby, photographer, extraordinaire. I mean, we've been chatting through your life story before you came into the podcast, and it's a fascinating story.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, I mean, in the beginning, the camera present from your grandmother you were telling me about.
Yeah, I just got I got an opportunity to play with one of her cameras, and she just let me work with it, for a little while and play with it, and I suddenly realised that I wanted to take photos. And I didn't know I wanted to take photos for a living. I was probably only about 12 or 13 when I got my hands on a camera to start with. I just knew that I liked photography.
Yeah, and that's lovely now that with all the experience you've got, one thing that stood out to me when we were talking earlier was that idea of I just want people to take pictures.
Yes.
The same as you did when you were that young boy.
I think photography is an incredible tool that we all should enjoy and embrace. So I don't care what cameras people use. Just go out, use your mobile phone and take pictures. Just record your life and record everybody else's life around you. Yeah, I think it's fascinating.
And you've certainly done that. I would love you to quote to everybody, because obviously your career with the RAF actually took you on an amazing journey in terms of photography, didn't it?
It did, yes. I joined the Royal Air Force at 19 as a photographer. After I did work experience at school as in photography, and decided that that's what I wanted to do. It just so happens that my brother came home from school one day with a leaflet and said, do you know that there's the Royal Air Force employ photographers? And no, what's that? An opportunity to travel the world and take pictures for a living. And what actually happened was the Royal Air Force at the time were offering the City and Guilds qualification. So long as if you completed their training and did 3 years service, you'd get the qualification. And I thought, I'll stay in for 3 years and then leave, because I got a job and getting paid for it and get the education. And then 18 years later, I've been here a long time.
And how many countries?
I did 60 countries. 40 of those countries I did 4 or more times, and and that was all in a 4.5 year period towards the end of my career. But I'd actually done more countries than that prior to that. So I travelled a bit. I did a lot. Yeah, I did a lot. Yeah, I loved it.
So you were talking earlier about you certainly saw the best of humanity, but also
I did, yes,
the worst in that time.
There are all sorts of. I went to Bosnia. I did 4 tours in Bosnia. I did Afghanistan and Iraq, all the obvious ones. But I also went across several countries in Africa. I went to South America, right across the United States. Spent some time working with the US military and other foreign national countries. So I spent a lot of time in the Balkans, a lot of time in Northern Europe. Even went as far away as Malaysia. So I'm working with the military. So yes, fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
And your role was as photographer during all?
Yes, it was all to record the daily life of what's happening within the Royal Air Force and farther reaches of the Ministry of Defence. So I worked with the Royal Marines, the Army and the Navy as well at times. And also with foreign national powers as well. So whenever there was an international exchange with international exercise with other foreign powers as well, we'd go and work with those. And thought it was fascinating. I loved it. My wife put up with an awful lot of time, when she was on her own and I was away. It was really difficult at times, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
But we hear that story quite often.
Yeah,
it's not just about your service, is it? It's hers as well, really.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time supporting me, and I'm really grateful for that as well. So it's one of those that we're as much a team as when I spent a lot of time on mountain rescue while I was based at RAF Leeming in North Yorkshire. I was on mountain rescue as a volunteer, which meant me going out every single weekend training. And if I wasn't training with mountain rescue, I was on duty photographer at RAF Leeming. So we couldn't do anything there. And I did that for 5 years. And so we didn't, I couldn't have done it without her, without that support. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you talked about your time with the RAF mobile news team when we were talking earlier.
Yes,
that seemed quite a turning point in a sense.
That was, yes. I joined RAF mobile news team in 2000, and actually it was 2001, towards the beginning of 2001, and it was just me and 2 civil servants at the time, and we were watching the TV one day, and on the big screen in the office, quite a big office, and 9/11 happened, the World Trade Center, and that changed the world for us. Absolutely changed everything. I turned and said to my boss, "We're going to need some extra people because we're going to get busy," and it did. We went really busy. So I ended up just a few weeks later being on one of the very first aircraft into Kabul in Afghanistan. So we went in with RAF Regiment and French Special Forces to take the Kabul airfield, and was there for quite a long time with the initial deployment out there, and then went back numerous times later on back into Afghanistan. And then in 2003 I was embedded with the US Marine Corps for the invasion of Iraq as well. So because it just so happens that 51 Squadron RAF Regiment was supporting the US Marine Corps, and in there it was an engineering unit that we were with, and we ended up going in with those into Iraq. So yeah, pretty interesting times, really interesting times.
And a lot of diverse projects over those years that you spent.
Yes, I mean,
so
I was on what they called R1, which is R1 is a term used for referring to people's availability to deploy, and I had to deploy anywhere in the world within 24 hours, and I was permanent R1 for that. And I remember 2004 Boxing Day, sat at home. One of the few Christmases I had been at home, and it was Boxing Day, and I got a phone call, and it was my boss, and he says, "Paul, I need you down at Bryce Norton." And oh God, what's happened now? He said, "Turn on the TV." So I turned on the TV, and the tsunami was happening in Malaysia, and so I had to get down to Bryce Norton with all my equipment. We deployed on a C-17 to Sweden initially. The aircraft stocked up with supplies, flew back to the UK, refueled, and then flew out to Sri Lanka, then on to Malaysia. And we spent quite a long time over there in Malaysia recording the military support that was provided to the local community. And so it wasn't all good things we did, it wasn't all, but I was recording. It was horrific. It wasn't all nice things I was photographing, but it was good things that the MOD was trying to do to support the local community out there. So it was nice to see that we were able to provide that support to the local community over there.
Just a quick break to let you know that Motorfinity saves you thousands on brand new cars. Who's eligible? If you work for the UK's Armed Forces, NHS, Emergency Services, Prison Service, education or care sectors, you can access our amazing discounts. To date, we've saved our customers an average of £7,000 on the price of a brand new car.
Yeah, so it's incredible as well. You have all that knowledge and understanding of what the service was really like through the lens of the camera on the ground, and now moving on with your own business, Paul Saxby Photography. You're still working as a veteran to help veterans, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah, I left the service in 2006, so I've been out now as long as I was in the service, just about. And I set up my own business, worked primarily in photojournalism for the first few years, had a commercial studio for a while, and then found myself getting approached by people that had worked that belonged to the Ministry of Defence. Would you like to work with us again as a contractor? Which was quite interesting. I was told that the job's very similar to being a corporal in the Air Force. It's nothing like being a corporal in the Air Force at all, nothing. But I've been working with since 2013. I've been working with the Ministry of Defence now as a contractor. Primarily now working in video, so I do video production and work conferencing and that sort of. I'm a techie, really. I'm a techie, but I still run my own business alongside, so I work that as well, and that's primarily in portraiture. Because it's my wife and I have been in Newark now for 21 years, and Newark has looked after us really well. We've really enjoyed being here. I decided I wanted to do something to pay back the local community in Newark, and so I created the Pay It Forward project. It's where anybody can nominate somebody, or people can nominate themselves to have their portrait taken, and it's totally free. There's no catches or anything. It can be for anybody, really. The only thing that I say is that if after doing it, do something nice for somebody else. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as it's something nice for somebody else, and that's why I call it the Pay It Forward project. And it just so happened that a friend of mine who is a veteran said, well, why don't you bring in some more veterans, and tell the story of veterans. So, and it's grown from there. So yeah, I've had quite a lot of interest from veterans, from the ex-military community, that would like to tell their story, people that would tell their story. And so although the Pay It Forward project isn't just for veterans, there is a close interest for me to pursue that line.
Well, I would encourage anybody to have a look at your website and look at the project. And
thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I've said if they would like to nominate anyone or
there's a
take part
themselves. Page about the project with a form on there that anybody can go to and apply.
I've seen some of the examples of the veterans portraiture you've been doing, and they're absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. And I know you are an associate member of, maybe you'd like to mention that?
I'm an associate of an organisation called Headshots Don't Matter, which is one of the, it's an international organisation that promotes quality portraiture and headshot photography. So anybody in a local business or organisation, or say somebody like an actor or a musician or a creative that wants to have their photograph taken that tells a story about them, then we do that. We'll do that, and I'm an associate member of that. So it's a support community for photographers to help them produce the best quality they can get, and it's one of the great things that I'm really proud to be a member of it, because it's not easy to be a member. You're pushed into producing the best work you can. So I'm really proud to be that.
That shows.
Yeah, thank you.
It does show.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
And we were talking earlier as well about storytelling through photographs, weren't we? Through photography. And I love that idea, and I think what we've here at Motorfinity, we're so keen to align with what you're doing, and little teaser that there is something coming up soon that we're going to be working together on, because it perfectly aligns with what's at the heart of what we do in terms of the veteran community.
Well, so I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I'm really excited about the
and the storytelling side of it.
Yeah, can I mention what we're going to do?
Okay,
why not?
Fantastic.
Why not? I'd like we're trying to organise an exhibition of work, aren't we? And it'll be portraits of veterans, and also the blue light community as well. So police and fire service. An ambulance community as well, if they like to be involved. So
particularly veterans who've had to, because that's not easy, is it?
Not at all.
That idea of transitioning from military life into civilian life, and quite a lot of them do go into the emergency services after military, don't they?
But I think it's the fact that they're wearing a uniform which makes them feel part of a community. I mean, that's one thing that I did miss when I left the service. Having to choose my own clothes during a working day. That was really hard to do. But it's a project that hopefully will be close to people's hearts, because I'd like to tell the story of veterans. It doesn't matter how old or young they are. So they can be a veteran from, say, World War II, or or Northern Ireland Troubles, or whatever, or just somebody that just happened to serve even recently. So, and it doesn't matter about their story as such, so long as they're happy to be photographed. And I'm not going to talk too much about people. If people don't want to tell me their background, because I know some people struggle with talking about it, but if they're willing to provide a caption, a few words, I just find that would be fascinating.
It's always lovely to have that backstory, isn't it?
Have the backstory,
we would be keen
be really nice.
to help with that. I think, I think it's that encouragement about talking as well, isn't it? How important that is.
I recently photographed a young chap called Justin, who unfortunately lost the use of his legs after during service, and he had a fantastic story, absolutely wonderful story. He now plays wheelchair rugby at a really high level. He's doing very, very well, and his portraits were amazing. Really fantastic. A lovely chap. He spends a lot of time helping other people on his own time. So I think a lot of service people, veterans, want to be part of a community and want to support a community. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I want to do this sort of thing. Want to do this because it's quite difficult being stuck out on your own. And not feeling you have got people around you. If somebody's coming in, I'll help you. I'll do something.
And we want to keep those stories alive, don't we?
Of course.
That's a big part of it. And coming up to Remembrance, that's a big part of the mission, isn't it? That you're keeping those stories alive, you're highlighting the extraordinary things that
it all ties together. So what I would like to do is put the exhibition on for the run up to Remembrance. So if we can photograph some people over the next few months. I mean, there is no rush, but if we can start trickling people through from now, I'm willing to start. I have technically started, so willing to start moving and start taking people's photographs.
Yes.
So And I like to do it my way as well. So that's the
yes.
That's the other thing.
That was going to be my next question, because you know, we've got Ollie involved in this, our videographer, bless him, and we were looking at, you know, obviously the world has gone very digital.
It has,
but
my background is film, and I've always got a you know, it's a close connection to film. So I'd like to shoot as much of this project as I can. Probably not all of it, but as much as it on the film.
Down there somewhere, you've got
I've got
some equipment, haven't you? That might be alien to Ollie, but
so these are two of my favourite cameras. They're not. I've got a huge collection of old cameras, but these are two of my favourite cameras. I love them. They're just amazing. Pieces of technology. So
your wife's not objected yet to
no, I've got
stop, there's no more house room for these cameras.
No, there isn't. This weekend one of my old cameras, it was the first camera I bought with my own money as well, after starting with the paper, my first paper that I worked with. It died this last weekend, and I was you know, so I've been online looking for people that do repairs, you know. But I don't want to keep it going. I want to keep it going. My old little Rolly. So
So what do we got here? Tell us a little bit about what, because you're going to use this one.
Yeah, this is my primary camera. This is my little baby. This is my Mamiya RB67, and it's it's a medium format camera. It produces huge negatives, 6 centimeters by 7 centimeters. So you know, they're quite large, and it's the quality is just amazing. I haven't got any film in it at the moment, so I can't. I would demonstrate what noise it makes, and when you wind it on, it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And you have to activate the shutter and wind it on independently. Let's see if it will do it. No, it won't do it without any film in it. But you've got to activate the shutter, cock the lens, and then wind the film on it separately. The sound is just amazing, absolutely amazing when you do that. I love it.
They get that digitally, Ollie.
Yeah, it's totally manual. All the exposure is manual. The focusing is manual. You look through the top. And you know, down like that. See my bald head now. So look through the top, and everything is reversed. So you because of the way the prism finder works. So you move the camera right, the angle moves left. You know, the viewfinder moves left. So that's my baby. But this is my carry around. So this is a Olympus 35 SP.
Quick
and
captures.
And it's a rangefinder camera. So it's still entirely manual. It has one auto function where you can put it into an auto exposure mode. I don't think I've ever used it in auto exposure mode, but rangefinder camera.
It should be in there permanently if I were.
That is this one 1972, and this one about 1984. So they're old cameras.
Old friends.
Yeah, they are. Working order. They are, very much so. Very much so. They work very well. So
you're going to be using those as part of the shoot?
Yes, definitely, and other cameras as well.
So what we need to say is, you know, we're going to be searching for people who would really love to be a part of this.
That's right.
And it is free.
It is totally free. There's no obligation in any way. People will receive digital copies of the imagery as well, because once I've taken the photograph, process them, I scan them, and then I can reproduce them for the people to use. Totally free. There's no obligation for anything at all. If people want to buy prints, they can. That's the only cost if they want to buy separate prints. But you've got your own digital files. You don't have to come to me for those.
So in the heart of Newark.
Yes.
But we're looking to extend it, probably 3 counties.
Yes, definitely. East Midlands is a good way of describing it. I think it works really well. The military community is huge in the East Midlands, so you know we've got a lot of people to attract from there. So, and it doesn't matter which service, it doesn't matter where from, and for the pay it forward side of it doesn't even matter if you're a veteran or not. So I'm quite happy with that as well. So no, it's good.
No,
I'm quite excited about it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to try and fit as many people in as I can. Obviously, I have the video production job that I do day to day. That sometimes I haven't end up working weekends and evenings, but I'm quite lucky. My flexible working hours allow me to work around this, and I can fit this in.
Yeah. So we'll put some details on our platforms.
Definitely. Thank you very much. That's
share
great.
That with you. Yeah. Fantastic. I think everybody loves to, pay it back, pay it forward, whichever you want to do. The veteran community is so important to us, aren't they? And so we're really excited about supporting it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Keep everybody posted as it progresses.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. Yeah, I'm more than happy to come back and discuss it in the future if you want to.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our podcasts aim to raise awareness of the organisations providing much needed services in the UK and highlighting the stories of the people doing extraordinary work in our communities. This is why we do what we do. Can you help by subscribing now?